Imagine a life of luxury where every desire is met, yet you're trapped in a glass cage of loneliness. That's Isabella Rojas's world in Bogotá, until a passionate affair with a charismatic dancer shatters her illusions and plunges her into a deadly game of betrayal and cartel warfare. But this isn't just about revenge. It's about a woman finding her voice in a city steeped in shadows. As Isabella uncovers her husband's dark empire and navigates a world of double agents and hidden truths, she's forced to confront not just her enemies, but her own choices. Will she escape the shadows that threaten to consume her, or will she become another victim of a system she dared to challenge? This neo-noir psychological thriller will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end.
Some women look in the mirror and see what they've become. I only remember what I've lost. Every morning I wake up inside this glass cage. The world outside, just like this window, is distant, blurry, and untouchable. I breathe, I walk, I speak. But am I living? Sometimes I'm not sure. Isabella Rojas is the owner of La Paloma, a boutique art gallery located in Bogotá's exclusive Candelaria district. Seemingly successful, with elegant clothes, refined taste, and a calm demeanor, she is known as a strong, unapproachable woman in her circle. Her gallery houses some of Colombia's most valuable art pieces, abstract paintings hanging on the walls, sculptures gleaming in glass display cases. Each one felt like a part of my soul. Yet within my inner world, there was a broken and suppressed loneliness. Years ago, I had hoped to lose that loneliness in the dazzling world of Diego Rojas. My husband, Diego Rojas, was one of the country's wealthiest coffee magnates. His empire was filled not with the aroma of coffee beans, but with the sharp scent of money and power. Our marriage, however, had been steeped in loneliness for years. Diego's life had trapped my soul in a glass cage. He displayed me like an accessory, taking me to parties, hosting guests at my gallery, but he never truly saw me. In his eyes, I only saw my reflection, not me. Diego gave me everything: luxury, power, respectability. I lived in one of the most beautiful houses in this city, wore the most expensive clothes. But you cannot buy a soul. You cannot see a soul. I was a statue to him, a painting. I was looked at but never seen. Until that night. That night, Diego's phone vibrated. I succumbed to my curiosity. And the photos I saw on the screen, another woman, another life. Outside my glass cage, Diego had another world. In that moment, something broke inside me. A desire for revenge blossoming like a volcano. This revenge was not just against Diego, but also a battle against the self I had lost. My first encounter with Mateo Alvarez happened at one of the city's liveliest dance clubs during a passionate salsa performance. With every move on stage, Mateo possessed a charismatic, seductive, and dangerously alluring charm. His eyes seemed to gleam as if he saw the suppressed scream within me. When our eyes met, it was as if the whole world stopped. Behind his dancer persona, he was a secret agent working for Diego's rival cartel. Unaware of this darkness, I fell in love with Mateo, seeing him as the symbol of freedom that would rescue me from my glass cage. Mateo's touch ignited a fire within me that I hadn't felt in years. Dancing with him, I felt truly alive for the first time. Mateo gave me something Diego never did, the feeling of being seen, not just looked at. In his eyes, I was not merely an accessory, but a woman, a living, breathing, desiring woman. He was a hope for me, a dark hope. Mateo whispered to me that Diego was laundering money through his coffee trade, even hinting at connections to drug trafficking. This information solidified the dark whispers I had already known but chosen to ignore. Diego's strange phone calls during business meetings, the locked rooms in our house, it all started to connect. Mateo offered to work with me to bring Diego down. At first, I hesitated. I feared Diego's power, his ruthlessness. But those photos on Diego's phone, in that moment, The fire of revenge consumed everything. There was no turning back. Betrayal doesn't always arrive with a loud bang. Sometimes it's a glance, sometimes a silence, sometimes a document, and sometimes the very people you trust the most pull you into their own games. I was running from Diego's game, only to find myself caught in Mateo's. I shared my plan with Mateo and my cousin Carmen Diaz. Carmen was one of Bogotá's most successful lawyers. Known for her sharp intellect and cool demeanor, she also worked as an informant for a secret government unit. From the very beginning, Carmen suspected Mateo. She noticed the inconsistencies in his movements, and the whispers she'd heard about his dark past disturbed her. Carmen warned me repeatedly. Carmen says, "This man is no good for you, Isabella. What you see in his eyes is merely a reflection of your desire for escape. He's not a savior, he's a predator. Open your eyes." One day, she even noticed a secure messaging app open on Mateo's phone and tried to show it to me. The screen displayed meaningless codes and letters, but I was so consumed by my emotions and my desire for revenge that I ignored Carmen's warnings. My love for Mateo had blinded me. I desperately wanted to believe he truly loved me. Our plan was clear. Mateo would infiltrate Diego's hidden office at home and steal coffee trade data and fraudulent contracts from his computer. Carmen would then transfer these documents to the prosecutor's office, initiating legal proceedings to bring down Diego's empire. Mateo explained the necessary passwords and security loopholes for infiltrating Diego's system. I memorized every detail as if my life depended on it. Once Mateo obtained the documents, things began to change. Mateo told me he was genuinely developing feelings for me. The line between us blurred. It seemed to cease being just a mission for him, transforming into a genuine desire to save me, or so I believed. We met secretly at night in the dimly lit streets of Bogotá under the rain. Every touch, every whisper, pulled me deeper. Diego wasn't just a coffee magnate. He was a cartel boss who controlled every corner, reigning in the shadows of Bogotá. His web was far more extensive than I could have imagined, and I, foolishly, hadn't realized I was dancing within his web. He was always one step ahead. He knew my every move, my every breath. Diego was aware of all this activity. My strange behavior lately, my secret meetings with Mateo, the encrypted messaging apps on my phone, all of it aroused Diego's suspicions. Hidden cameras in the house, listening devices on my phone, recorded my every move. Every new face that came to my gallery was watched by Diego's men. He sent his own men into the shadows. He also realized Mateo's double game. Diego's face held the cold expression of a predator about to catch its prey. He was just waiting for the right moment. That night would be the longest night of my life, the night the plan would be executed. Bogotá was once again washed by rain, as if the city felt the storm inside me. My heart was pounding against my ribcage. Mateo entered my house to infiltrate Diego's system. It was past midnight. Mateo, with a flashlight, moved towards Diego's hidden office. Every step was cautious, every breath filled with tension. He disabled security cameras, silently opened doors. Once inside, he sat at the computer and began copying files. I was watching Mateo from my own room on a hidden security monitor. I held my breath, following his every move on the screen. My heart was pounding as if it would burst out of my chest, but Mateo didn't return. The image on the monitor suddenly went black. Isabella gasped. My eyes widened in terror. I hit the monitor repeatedly, as if I could bring the image back, but I only saw my own reflection, scared and helpless. In the morning, an encrypted message arrived on my phone, from an unknown number. Mateo's message: "I'm sorry, we went too far. Diego's men got to me. I won't involve you. Save yourself." My hands trembled as I read the message. The phone slipped from my grasp, falling to the floor. Carmen was furious. "Mateo used you, Isabella," she shouted, her voice filled with anger. "He was just a pawn. He used you and ran. Open your eyes already." Instinctively, I tried to defend Mateo, but my heart was shattered. My eyes welled up. Tears streamed down my cheeks. That night, I was alone with Diego. The house suddenly turned ice cold. Diego knew everything, that I was after the documents, Mateo's true identity, Carmen's connection, even the message from Mateo on my phone. Diego, with a glass of whiskey in his hand, stood before me. A cold, calculating smile played on his face. His eyes pierced through me. Diego says, "I built you a glass cage, Isabella. It's beautiful, isn't it? Safe. Now look at me from inside it, because outside, the only thing waiting for you are the shadows, and those shadows will devour you. You are mine, Isabella. My toy." Diego's voice pierced my heart like an icy knife. My eyes filled with tears, but I couldn't cry. Diego ordered his men to forcibly remove me from the house. 2 burly men grabbed me by the arms. Even though I tried to resist, it was useless. As I was thrown out of my luxurious home into the rain, my eyes filled with tears. But this time, it was from emptiness rather than anger or pain. He seized my art gallery, froze my bank accounts. In an instant, I was penniless on the street. Carmen wanted to help me, but it was too late. Diego's power had spread everywhere. His arms were too long. Isabella's downfall had begun. Under the rain, in the dark, colonial streets of Bogotá, I walked alone. With every step, I left the wreckage of my life behind me. I had lost everything: my home, my money, even my faith. The streets of Bogotá had suddenly turned into a giant monster. A threat lurked around every corner, a danger hidden in every shadow. There was no word from Mateo. Carmen had withdrawn from her mission. She had to protect herself. My life had collapsed. I had hit rock bottom. One night, to take shelter from the rain, I sought refuge in an old, dilapidated church. Inside, it was dim, lit by candlelight. The air was damp. The old stone walls smelled of mildew. Inside the church, like a shadow, I met Padre Javier. Padre Javier was not a typical priest. His face bore deep lines, and his eyes held a tired but determined expression. He was a victim of the old system, the underground eyes and ears of justice. For him, the church was not just a sanctuary, but an operations center. Padre Javier noticed my condition. He offered me a cup of hot tea, his hands calloused but gentle. "You seem lost, my child," he said, his voice compassionate but also containing a warning. "But you are not the only one lost in this city. Justice is lost too, and sometimes, to find what is lost, you have to go into the shadows." Padre Javier showed me larger case files related to Diego: murder orders, underground courts, state-level buyouts, bribes, blackmail. These files revealed that Diego was not just a cartel boss, but the head of a corrupt criminal empire deeply rooted in the country. Images, audio recordings, witness testimonies, all of it pointed to Diego's bloody hands. Every document reignited the anger and desire for revenge within me. Padre Javier explained that Mateo had been captured by Diego and had miraculously escaped. "That boy," Padre Javier said, "risked a lot for you. He wasn't a figment of your imagination, as you thought. He was your salvation, but escaping Diego's grasp isn't easy. He is the Lord of the Shadows." And he asked me one last question, his eyes piercing my soul. Padre Javier says, "Will you do this just for revenge, Isabella? Will you just bring down a man who hurt you? Or will you finally speak with your own voice? Will you speak for all the victims in this city? For justice?" My eyes welled up. This time I acted for myself, not just for revenge, but to achieve justice. I decided to face the media to bring Diego down. Padre Javier provided me with all the documents. I called Carmen. Her voice was hesitant, but she finally agreed. A press conference was arranged. Carmen stood by my side, her eyes a mix of regret and pride. Mateo was still nowhere to be found. His fate remained uncertain. But now I was fighting not for him, but for myself and for this city. That day was the day I was reborn, the day my glass cage shattered. The press conference took place in the ballroom of one of Bogotá's largest hotels. Cameras, flashes, journalists, everyone was waiting for this scandal. Isabella stepped onto the podium. There was no fear on her face, only cold determination. She began to speak, though her voice didn't tremble. The storm within her was palpable. Isabella exposed all of Diego's crimes with documented evidence. Images, audio recordings, accounting documents. Every piece of evidence struck a blow to Diego's empire. Bogotá's most powerful man collapsed live on air, before the eyes of millions. News spread rapidly. On the same day, news came that Diego Rojas had committed suicide. He couldn't tolerate losing control. For him, power was everything. Without power, he was nothing. However, the story doesn't end there. Isabella tried to call Mateo but received no answer. His fate remained uncertain. Perhaps he truly escaped. Perhaps. Padre Javier visited Isabella one last time. Padre Javier says, "Mateo was the illusion you sent to Diego, Isabella. He was a reflection of your desire for freedom. The real you is still waiting. Do you dare to step out of the glass? To write your own story?" When glass breaks, the pieces cut, but those pieces can also make a window. I won't just watch anymore. I will begin to see. The world outside might be frightening, but I won't dance in my own shadows anymore. I found my own light. This was my story. The story of the day I stepped out of my glass cage, and now, looking out that window, I'm ready to build a new world.